Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, what you know about bench mob? They're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. They rep a jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. Taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. They clearing the seats, now it's time to grow. Tune in now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow. We know.
Paid third Wednesday, right?
Yo. Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Podcast. We back, we here, we live. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Bro.
Greg is well rested.
Well rested. I wish.
Just let y'all know to give y'all input. Greg being on time lasted 1 week. That's what Chris was alluding. Greg went back to the diva lifestyle. He's the TO of our show. He does the sit-ups in the driveway with the media around.
He's the Lauryn Hill of the group.
I pay my taxes. I don't know what you're talking about. She late every show. Are you forgetting she late every show? She got, oh my God.
And wants full payment.
Yeah, she late every show. She gets all her bread though.
Hey, it's Lauryn Hill though. She
got the pipes. Can't blame her.
Yeah, she gonna get the check. We're gonna start off with this one first. Of course, thank you for all our listeners, subscribers, everybody that support us. We appreciate y'all. That New York Giants trash can drop down. For those that cannot see, Chris just put up a New York Giants cup. I don't understand why he would do that. But
as Lindsay's, I don't condone it.
Yeah. I'm surprised
your fiance is a Giants fan?
Nah, her family are Giants fans.
So she's a Giants
she
fan.
Was born into it. Yeah, she was born into it. But okay, I got her right with the Bengals stuff now. She good.
Yeah, all right, whatever. She got any common sense. No one's going from the Giants to the Bengals, bro. Ain't nobody going from the Giants to the Bengals.
You crazy?
Yeah, it literally makes no sense. There's no reason to do it. Like if you're a Giants fan, there's no reason to do that at all.
Yo, we not getting into this. Antonio, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. That after this episode, just put it in the garbage. I don't think they even take that and recycle it. Starting off,
fucking crazy, all right? Tone teamless, by the way.
Going to because I don't deal with abuse well, so I just.
You know what I'm saying? The Cowboys have beaten them up to that point where you can give up. So
listen, we're gonna get into your Giants later when we talk about these sorry teams in the NFC East. Go ahead.
Well, with Greg hopping on 2 hours late, I don't even know if we're going to get to the NFC East today. You might have to say that for Thursday's episode. We're going to start with the referees, though. Referees, we get hearing a lot of complaints. Most recently, we had the Kyrie shoulder ejection, which was the first time in their career that either have been ejected. Is this just a normal season? We're hearing the complaints because we hear them every season, or is this something that is really a problem this season with the refs? It seems like, in my opinion, this year, especially, they want the players to be emotionless. They want them to be basically like Kawhi. Players are getting technical fouls for saying and one, which is, for me, I think that's a first. So what's y'all take on these referees this season?
I think it's horrible. I think it's absolutely horrible. We know players in the past complain about refs. That's just a part of the game. If you're a player and the ref calls something on you, you're not going to like it at the end of the day. You see it all the time when players travel and, act in awe when a ref calls them for traveling, right? When they walk 3-4 steps. But this isn't that. These are guys showing their passion, their love of the game, jawing a little at each other. I mean, that's part of the competition. That's part of the rivalry. These are two teams that we're expected to see in the finals with the Nets and the Lakers. Like, you want it to be like this. You want that built-up energy to come in June when they play each other in the championship. So I think the technical fouls were called super quick too. The other night with Schroeder and Irving. If you watch that video and you were watching the game, Shooter kind of looked like the innocent man. He was walking back. Kyrie was the one that was walking at him. And look, I get it. If you want to call one technical, call it technical. But to tee them both up and throw them out of the game when they didn't even lay hands on each other, like at that point, that's when it's getting too much. Like, hey man, these guys, there's gonna be talking. It's sports. Like, and this is why I always have a problem with basketball. The NBA, like, they're soft. They got it soft, man. You see hockey, the referees allow players to fight, right? You see baseball, benches clear more often than not during the season. But like football, even people be going at it. You remember Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson, like they be going at it. AJ Green and Jalen Ramsey, they be going at it. They be throwing punches. Yes, they get ejected, but they're getting ejected for throwing punches. You see scuffles all the time and whatnot. But basketball, you can't even jaw at each other. Come on, man.
Yeah, and to allude to, the whole situation with Schroeder and them, that second technical foul they came out and said was because Schroeder waved and told Kyrie goodbye.
He said, yeah, you going too.
If that's a reason to get a technical foul, I think that's a little overboard, and especially in this game. We saw it with Devin Booker getting kicked out for throwing the ball at a ref or bounce pass. But this game, this is a premier game. This is on, I believe it was on ABC. You don't get rid of the two premier players. There's no LeBron here. There's no AD. KD was on limited minutes. Like, you don't get rid of Kyrie, and the game was only at that point 4 or 5 point difference. You can't eject them from the game.
And Schroeder was going off. He was 7 for 11.
Yeah, he was giving Kyrie some problems. What was y'all in general this season, Miles or Greg? Anything on it?
I'm so happy that Chris said what he said about this. He said that in hockey they let the players fight. Baseball, it's like it's an unwritten rule. You go out there, you charge the mound. They don't. The umps don't really stop it. These guys can throw down and start fighting. And I just want people to think about the two similarities between those two sports and what makes them different in the NBA, and why you think that can happen in those sports, but not the NBA. And you brought up the NFL, but they don't really fight like that. They over here swinging at each other's helmets. It's just totally different. It's not the same. The nature of the sport's tough, but you all right. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I want y'all to think about it. Why is it that in hockey they can fight, and in baseball they can fight, but in the NBA they can't? Go ahead. No, I want to answer.
I know where Greg's going with this.
Why?
Go ahead, Miles. Let me hear it.
But I mean, in baseball, wouldn't you think it would be similar to that too, like hockey?
What do you mean?
Sense. I mean, because I know you're getting at the black, white, going down that road right now. But I mean, like you said, hockey, you're allowed to do way more. They even let you square off with each other, which is wild.
Yeah, Chris is laughing, bro. I'm dead ass.
I know. That's why it's funny that Greg was.
It's funny because he always finds some way to tie it back to race. But listen, I hear you, but I disagree from a football perspective because we got a lot of brothers out there on that field at one time, and they still. I mean, it's more of a physical sport to begin with, anyway. So I get it from that perspective. But go ahead, I'm gonna let you continue.
They're not letting them fight in football. We're
not talking about fighting. We're talking about they're getting ejected for just conversating without even touching each other.
The nature of football is more rough. So if you want to make football the exception, that's fine. But in black sports, primarily black leagues, they're not going to get away with nearly as much as they will in white leagues. And this is just real. If you want the real, come to me. If you want some sugar-coated ESPN stuff, go to ESPN. Don't come here. But I'm going to tell you the truth because in the NBA, the league is 70% to 80% black. They're not letting these guys get away with nothing. Nothing. Not giving them an inch. It's bad enough they got enough power to sway the entire face of the league, right? Because in free agency, they do whatever they want. It's just different. There's the player empowerment movement stronger in the NBA than in any other league in pro sports at all. But that's enough. That's all you're gonna get, right? In these situations, and I'm not saying they should be able to fight, but there's just less leeway. These guys get way less. I mean, you saw what happened with Ron Artest and Mouse in the Palace and all that stuff. I mean, ever since then, that's when things got real tight. That was the breaking point. That's when everything turned with refs. That's when everything turned with the way they the officiates rule games and control the game. They don't let things slide. And it's ridiculous. It's not, to answer your question, to get back to your main point. It's not good for the game, and you hope they don't do it in the playoffs, because the playoffs is where it really hurts you. Not the regular season is one thing, but the playoffs, if you have your star player getting ejected because he didn't like the fact that he was called as Kai said, an N. Well, hopefully we get there. Well, an N. Then where's the line? Like they can't talk trash anymore. Basically, that's what we're talking about right now. They've really limited it, but we'll get back to the race card another day with that conversation. It is an interesting one, and I'm not the only one who's ever said this. Go look up Jalen Rose. He's talked about this. Jalen Rose has talked about this in his podcast extensively about the difference between the way the MLB conducts itself and the way the NHL conducts itself with these things. Where these guys are allowed to fight, right, and act like boys. But in the NBA and in primarily black leagues, even the NFL, it's different. In the NFL, if your socks aren't to a certain height, they fine you. That's a net. Come on, like that's what we're talking about. It's not the same, bro. It's not the same. But hey, we'll talk about that later. It's BS. This whole thing of ref stuff.
Speaking of, since Greg brought it up, what was your takes on the whole Kyrie shoulder thing? We got the audio. It came out maybe a couple of hours after that. That the whole conversation was, dag, bro, and he shoulder ended up calling Kyrie a nigga. And Kyrie came out after the game, made a post talking about how it's not a term of endearment and it shouldn't be used. And we heard the audio. He was telling Schroeder, you don't know me like that. Don't call me that, bro. So what was your takes on Niggagate?
I guess Kyrie turned over a leaf, because I'm sure at one point in his career, not too long ago, he probably conversed.
I sent you a video of him saying it.
Yeah.
He called Delson a nigga. He called Delson a nigga at a run a couple years ago. Go ahead, bro. They recorded this dude.
That's why it was funny that now he's turning it into a bigger thing than what it actually is, because I'm sure every night that's said at some point between players that look like us. But just this night, I don't know if he had a bad coffee from Starbucks or something rubbed him the wrong way, but he wasn't feeling it. He wasn't taking that from Schroeder. So I don't know. I think that he was a little sensitive in reacting that way, but I mean, the word's been a little desensitized as much as we use it in pop culture and everyday life, just talking with friends. It's a word that's kind of like 200 years ago, it meant something totally different. Nowadays, it means you use it like, that's my homie, that's my what. So it's like he's trying to tie it back into, I'm not letting you use that word that kind of kept us down for so many years. But I mean, it wasn't worth fighting over, especially in a game. Like, you could pull him to the side behind the scenes without the cameras rolling, where they're going to catch you taking offense to a word that they've also caught you saying multiple times elsewhere too. So I don't know. I think Kyrie, he's a little sensitive, but I see where he's coming from in a way.
Yeah, if that's what set him off, you can't pick and choose when you want to use the word, right? You can't use it in the past and use it with your boys, right? But when somebody else says it to you, it's like, whoa. You can't have a coming to Jesus moment in the middle of the game. Like, you got to play it the same way all the time. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, maybe he turned over a new leaf because there's been plenty of videos that's have him saying it. And maybe this is a part of his transition that he's been focusing on. It would just be interesting, they're going to definitely watch now around the league and other players if he uses the word himself after this. And it's going to be certain players that's going to then try to use this as like, all right, maybe this is the thing that I could get Kyrie kicked off. Maybe I could get him out of his game. I was just like, hey, what's up, nigga? And Kyrie now goes for 8 for 26 or gets a technical foul.
Right.
So that regard, that's where it might be a concern, because playoff time is by any means necessary. And if he uses it again, he's going to look like a hypocrite. So that's the only thing that, has to be watched for. I think this is a part of him transitioning to, I believe on his Instagram, it's Kawhi. So maybe this is the reasoning behind it.
Hold on. My thing about this whole thing is not anything to do with sports. I don't care about sports in this whole conversation. I really don't. I know this is a sports podcast, but we talk about everything. So let's tackle from a different angle real quick. So he doesn't want to be called that word. That's cool. I respect any black person that doesn't want to be called that word or doesn't want to say that word. That's fine. Like, no one here has a problem with that. No one in general does. The funniest thing about all this to me is that he could have left that on the court. It didn't have to leave the court. No one knew what was going on. No one knew what was said. I don't think Schroeder put it out there. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, right? He went on Twitter and chose to make this a public thing because he wants to be the enlightened one and all that stuff. And what bothers me about him going on Twitter and making it about him being called the N-word is that now you open up that conversation to the masses. I will say this, and I say this all the time to people. I'll say it again here. I'll say it here. This is a conversation for black people. It's not a conversation for the general population. What I mean by that is you don't get to have any other race jump into this conversation and tell black people what they can or can't say or what they feel about what I don't care about anybody else's opinion about this. So that's why I didn't like it. It didn't sit right with me. That's why I rolled my eyes when I saw that tweet. And you sent it, you put it in the group chat, and I literally rolled my eyes when I saw it. I was just like, he's opening this up to the masses, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. This is not something open to the court of public opinion for anybody other than black people. It's just a very segmented conversation. It's for black people to have. If black people want to have, when you use that word, it is different than the actual word that was used as a hateful word, right? It's not the same. ERA. It's the ER and there's the A. It's totally different. So I love when people act like that, but then you get the white folk who come into the conversation and they don't get to say it, but they hear it all the time, but they say it with their friends and all that stuff. You open up Pandora's box and like, see, I agree. I shouldn't say it because then we can't say it. Like, don't open that door. Don't do that, Kyrie. Kyrie's trying to be the enlightened. Kyrie's gonna make a lot of mistakes on this journey to being Kyrie or whatever the hell we calling him. He's gonna make a lot of mistakes because he wants to be a civil rights activist. He wants to be all these things, and I respect him for it. But this, to me, was just stupid. Like, you don't open that door. Don't get yourself ejected because you got called an N-word when you hear it on the court all the time. That joke's flying around on the NBA court. We know that. It probably goes around 300 times in a game, right?
Bro, people dunk on somebody and be in their face like, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
he hears it all the time. This is
all the time.
This dude was in a bad mood and wanted to go, and then he takes the next day off, right? I've been really defensive of Kyrie Irving. He takes the next day off. So what was the day off for? I don't know, and that's his personal business. But like, you only get so much PTO, bro. Like, you only get so much PTO.
We're gonna talk about it.
You only get so much PTO. So was it because you were so irritated? Because I'm thinking that Kyrie's a really irritable dude. Kyrie gets called an N-word, takes the next day off. Was it because you were called an N-word that you took the next day off? Like, I don't understand. Or was it because of what happened in Minnesota? I don't know if he called out before what happened with what happened in Minnesota with the shooting. I'm not sure, but still, like, there's just too much. If we're gonna keep it in this here in this conversation, Kyrie, I don't think he should have opened up Pandora's box to the masses. I don't like that he did that because you got people chiming on this conversation. Frankly, I have no right chiming in on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you guys feel about it. That's how I feel about it. I don't know. I'd love to hear how y'all feel about that.
I mean, my opinion on it is it's a conversation I agree that should be had within our community. I get what he's trying to do. He's trying, like you said, he's trying to educate people. He's trying to be a civil rights activist. And along the way, there will be bumps. It's just, I'm sure you could say the same for Martin Luther King. I'm no by any means comparing the two, but I'm sure he had mistakes and bumps along the road. He just wasn't on social media. He just didn't decide to post it. So I think I agree with, his approach and what he was trying to do. I agree it should be a conversation had between us. And I'll say this on my end, it's different to me, the way you use it. If you add in the ER, all right, cool. Wow. I got a problem with that one.
Yeah.
With the A, and the thing is, like Miles says, we have been desensitized to it. It's all in pop culture, our music, are some TV shows, movies. Quentin Tarantino be using that thing freely in his movies. Freely.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all over the place. But like I said, this is part of his process. There's going to be some bumps in the road. Martin Luther King cheated on Coretta. We find out afterwards, but there's going to be some bumps in the road.
You know, and is there very different transgressions? If you want to call this a transgression, this is not a transgression. It was just stupid, in my opinion. It was dumb. Made it a bigger deal than it had to be. And also, you're going to have this conversation. You have it within your community. You don't open it up to everybody else because no one else can understand the gravity of the word to you, to a black person. You can't put yourself in that shoe, but you're going to have white people in your comments talking crazy now, like opening that door. And why open up that door is my thing. Like, why even do that? You know what I'm saying? You can use your platform however you want to use it, but why do that? That's the segment we don't want to hear from is anybody else but black people. Only black people should chime in on this conversation. That should be a thing that's internally decided between black people, because it's a word that we've adopted, that we've used differently, right? It's not a word that's no one else's decision to make. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it is for me. Like that's what I thought of right away. Like that's what annoyed me. From a basketball perspective, Kyrie be on some weird stuff, bro. Like, you want to make it about basketball and him and who he is, Kyrie be on some weird stuff. I don't know what else to make it about other than that.
Yeah, looking at it, you see it in our community all the time. It's kind of split. I've heard Jalen Rose's viewpoint on it. So I think this is something that's not going to be solved anytime soon. Everybody has their own opinions on it. I want to hear your opinion on the NBA and parity. Do you feel that the NBA has parity in its league? And what does parity in the NBA look like for y'all? In y'all opinion, what does parity look like?
Greg, I want to hear what you got to say. You got the Monstars over there, so you should.
That's why he's doing that. Yo, the NBA. The NBA hasn't had parity for as long as I've been alive. If we're being honest, in the last 25 years, I'm not sure there has been much parity, and I know that I'm taking it back to, you know, Allen Iverson playing and them guys, and we talk about the 90s too, a little bit of it anyways. But the NBA hasn't had parity, and I'm okay with it, frankly, because we're excited and we're building up to the big matchup with the Lakers and the Nets. In the past, it was the Cavs and the Warriors. You know what it is though? Here's the reason why there's no parity in the NBA. The biggest reason why. One man's the reason why. LeBron James is the reason why. And I'm not blaming. It's not about. I'm not taking it to where you guys think I'm gonna take it. People think I'm gonna take it to him going to Miami, and that's when things swayed. I don't think that's what happened. I think when the Celtics assembled their big three, that's when things changed. That's what happened. I know they didn't do it the same way. It wasn't free agents coming together, but they assembled a super team. I don't care what anyone says. That was the first one of our lifetime. But LeBron's the reason why. LeBron's tipped the scale so much. It's hard to beat LeBron teams, bro. LeBron took a bunch of scrubs to the finals, and the NBA was like, oh, wow. All right, this guy's something serious. He was like 21. All right, cool. We just got to gang up on him. That's what started happening. Like, everyone talking about parity in the NBA. That's what it was. Back when Michael Jordan was playing, back when Larry Bird was playing, and them dudes, like, there wasn't a ton of parity back then either, because the best players would often be on the same team. People like to make it about LeBron. I know the conversation always goes back there, but it's about LeBron for me for a different reason, because of his greatness. It's really to give him props, because he is so hard to beat that him with average players can win an NBA championship on a given year. Used to be the case. Now you see KD. What's KD doing? Stockpiling. Why? Because of LeBron. You're not doing it for Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid. You're not worried about no one else. If LeBron didn't exist, the Nets would not be like this. So it's a LeBron thing, but not for the reason people think it is. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fun, and it adds to a compelling storyline for the NBA Finals, which we're all going to be looking forward to because we know what it's going to be. And I think that I know it's a little boring in the regular season. It's hard to stay tuned in, but in the long run, you'll enjoy that 7-game series. I promise you that.
What about when it comes to that, like with the East and the West? Do you think they should probably change it to the top 16 teams? Because looking at the standings, 7 teams, there's a couple teams that's not even in the playoff conversation when you look at East to West, but all 8 teams in the West definitely would be in the playoffs based off the standings right now for the Eastern Conference. Should they change up that playoff format where it's just, hey, top 16 teams, y'all get into the playoffs?
I don't think so. No. I think they should keep it the way it is. One, because if you deserve to be in the playoffs, you would make it regardless of what conference you're in or not. So if you're a good team in the Western Conference, you got to play better, clearly, since the Western Conference is a lot stronger. So that's that. Like, everybody knows the Eastern Conference has lately always been a little weak, a little watered down. I mean, you just look at it right now. What?
You got to talk about why, Miles. You got to talk about why the Eastern Conference is so weak. There's a reason why.
Is it because of LeBron James?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody would start ducking smoke. Yo, you call it what it is. Everybody started ducking smoke. They all went to the West. PG couldn't beat Bron in Indiana. Let's get out of here. Let's go. Let's get out of here. I don't. Was it a trade for him? Was it a trade that happened, or was he forced his way out? He forced his way out. Is what happened. Bro, they all went to the West. They always ducking smoke with Bron. That's the reason why the East is so weak. That's the reason why. And Bron went to the West, and now he's terrorizing them out there too. It's funny how it works. But that's my point. Also, I think the real reason why you want it to be a 16-game layout is because you know the Knicks wouldn't make it. The reason why you want to stay away from that is because the Knicks wouldn't make it if it was a 16-game layout, and you know that. You know damn well.
So I think we'd be able to sneak in there.
It's not even logical, bro. Because you can't. How do you do the travel? Are you telling me the Knicks can be matched up with the Lakers 1-16? Let's say the Knicks are 16 seed, right? And they play the Lakers. And you gonna go to LA and you're at a great.
Be a day off in between.
That's ridiculous. That doesn't work, man.
How wouldn't that work?
It's too much. That's to travel. Yo, see, we're saying this because we're not playing. If you're gonna travel like that and then go play a game, that is hard, man. That is hard. Jet lag.
That's why you have that day off in between. You know, get your
them series gonna be long as hell.
Or whatever you need to do. And
by the way, just looking at the stats, the Knicks would be the 16th seed if we were to start.
Yo, they would just get in, bro. That's what they are. They're the 16th best team. They're right there they're on the fray. That's what the Knicks are. So I'm saying they would get in. They would get in. I fine, but they would just barely get in. I'm calling a spade a spade. But this ain't about the Knicks though. I want to get Miles on. I'm upset. This is the series.
I'm not about to recruit 2001 AI or something to play for us. Something similar to how the Nets got a stacked team in it.
So hold on real quick. Didn't the Knicks fans want this stacked team? Y'all wanted Kyrie Irving. You wanted KD, and you were convinced you were getting Zion.
I wanted KD. I wanted KD. I didn't want Kyrie.
You speaking for yourself? Bro.
What? I wouldn't want Kyrie.
The Knicks community wanted. They were sure. In fact, they were arrogant. They were arrogant about it. We're getting Kyrie. We're getting KD. We're getting Zion. They were laughing in my face. They got none of the three. None of them. Yo, Chris, they got nothing, bro. They ended up with nothing.
That's fine.
Okay. And now the Nets are stacked.
I'm telling you.
We
don't have the same amount of rings at the end of this whole saga.
You know that's not true. And now the Nets have those three guys all of a sudden now all stacked deck. Oh, now it's now the Nets are the Negroes, right? Like he called the Negroes in the group chat. Now that's what it is. But if the Knicks got all three of them dudes, y'all be popping big track. Knicks are talking big track because they just over 500, bro. The Knicks are 500. You would think
look who we're doing it with. Like, you look at our squad compared to y'all, which is more impressive?
You got to understand.
Which is more impressive?
We were you. The Nets were you. We had Dinwiddie. We had D'Lo. We didn't have much. We made it to the playoffs. We were the cute team that got in and were scrappy. We were you. And guess what? You didn't hear all that trash. Because Nets fans knew the bigger picture, bro. There's a bigger picture. We knew the end goal. What's the end goal for the Knicks? What's next?
Championship. Maybe y'all will get there. Maybe you won't. I don't know.
Where?
I got a lot to. You gonna bring who needs to come out of retirement? Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. Who else we bringing out?
It would be all good for Knicks fans if the Knicks were if there was a flip, if it was a reverse, the Knicks fans are the ones getting LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. That's what y'all wanted. That's what y'all wanted, though. That's what y'all wanted. It didn't happen.
I would never want either one of those Negroes.
you see how full of it they are, bro?
Oh, tell me if y'all agree with Luka and Mark Cuban coming out basically saying they aren't fans of the play-in situation especially Mark Cuban, who actually before the season, who was on the NBA Board of Governors, he was a part of the NBA Board of Governors that voted unanimously to have the play-in game. Me personally, I'm calling a spade a spade. They in the 7th seed. They don't want to be a part of that play-in game.
Mm-hmm.
And Luka said it first. Luka been crying all year.
Mm-hmm.
By the sidebar, Luka has been crying a lot this year.
Yes.
And Mark Cuban, being the great owner that he is going to back up his player. Because he said it the day after. Mark Cuban wasn't saying nothing about no play-in this whole season. Hey, Luka should have did what he's supposed to do from day one of this new season. Everybody said it. It looked like he came in out of shape, a little bit overweight. It's the West. You ain't got that opportunity to be like, I'm going to play into 15, 20 games. I'll get into shape. Not in the West. It's not the East, bro. And a lot of teams were picking Dallas to be a top 4 team. Luka was supposed to be the MVP, all these great things. And they going to be probably in a play-in situation.
They don't want to see the Pelicans in a play-in situation. That's what that's about. Zion getting them up out of there. If they run into the Pelicans, for the fans of Zion, but yeah, I think and people know the Zion reference, but Zion getting them out of there if they see them. For real. That's why they're just trying to duck smoke with the Pelicans. They don't want to see, or the Grizzlies. That's the reality of it.
Right now, do you think Dallas, keep it a stack? Do you think Dallas is beating Golden State, especially with how Steph Curry been playing as of late? He averaged his month so far.
Is Draymond healthy in the series? And you know.
Yeah, he's healthy.
Draymond, yeah, then the Warriors will win. Yeah, I'm not a Steph Curry hater on God. I'm really not. But if you're being honest, bro, yeah, I just think that Draymond makes that whole thing work. So, yeah, if he's healthy, they're not beating him in a 7-game series. He's a winner. He's going to make it work. So, no. They wouldn't beat him. But at the same time, we all know what this is actually about. Luka and Mark Cuban are just trying to get out of a sticky situation. They could easily lose a play-in game to a Grizzlies team led by John Morant, and also the Pelicans too. We're gonna get.
I think they could even lose to San Antonio. Out of those bottom 4 teams, you got Dallas, Memphis, San Antonio, Golden State, New Orleans. I think honestly, because KP, you don't know his health. Dallas doesn't really play D.
Nope.
It's really Luka and the Doncic. They just follow where he go.
Yep.
I think they're the weakest team overall.
Yeah, out of all. It's just Luka's the main difference maker because he's just the best out of all those teams. We're not talking about Golden State. They've got the best player. Dallas is the best individual player in any one of those games, so it gives them a chance. But Zion is damn close. He's out of his mind this year, yo. He getting 30 balls on 80% shooting. That's some Shaq stuff. So that's the fear that they have. That's the fear they have, and rightfully so. But don't try to change the rules now, Mark. Mark's always been some slimy dude. Mark's always been something.
He's supporting his player, bro. He's the great owner, bro. Like if I'm an owner and my star player speaks out, I don't. Depending on what he says, for the most part, I'm backing him up. Chris, do you think they should change in like next season? Should there not be a play-in for the playoffs next season?
I think that if there was a play-in, I think you'd see teams play a little more harder throughout the year because they know it's going to be that close to get in. You're going to have to be one of those top 16 teams, and I think the regular season would get a lot more competitive. You wouldn't see guys. Kyrie's situation is different, but I would say you wouldn't see guys taking personal days. You know, you'd see maybe some players play through some of the little injuries. Because they know what's on the line is making it into that being one of those top 16 teams. So personally, as a fan, that's something I would love to see. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, because I feel like, a lot of players will stand together and say, nah, we like it the way it is, either because, hey, they're a team that consistently gets in, right? And they're, always in that top 4, so they don't got anything to worry about. Or, they're a team that, maybe is riding on the lower seed and it's like, hey, I don't know if we change it like this. I don't know if we get in next year. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I definitely think it would make it a lot more interesting regular season, especially for us fans.
Yeah, Mark Cuban alluded to that. He said with the play-in now this year. Players don't get to rest, and you got to worry about travel and injury. But
That's
hey,
all excuses though.
hey, that's my viewpoint. If Dallas did what they're supposed to do, they could rest players like the LA Clippers or Phoenix Suns because we're top 3, top 4 seed. Even if we rest our players, we're not going to end up in a play-in situation. So
right, if you're doing what you need to do anyways during the regular season, you don't got to worry about that extra stuff.
exactly. So we'll see what happens. I don't think anything changes. I think it's just Mark Cuban doing his job of supporting his players. Flag on the play segment. First one. This one should be interesting. I would like to see if anybody actually accepts to talk about this one. DJ Mustard, personal shopper, Rissa Walker, was caught racking up $50K as of right now. $50K on her own personal stuff. Accept or decline.
Yeah, I missed that. You said DJ Mustard was caught racking up $50K on what?
DJ Mustard's personal shopper, Carissa Walker, spent $50K on herself off of his credit card. They're saying that it might go up to $100K actually.
That's another example of how celebrities are stupid. Why do you have a personal shopper? Isn't that
why does she think she wouldn't get caught? You don't think the man checks his receipts or checks his bank account or has someone do that?
You telling me DJ Mustard's so busy he can't go shopping for himself?
Too busy losing weight. That's why.
Hey, he be dropping them beats, so DJ Mustard on the beat.
Yo, he was getting paid $6K a month, which is $72K a year, to just go shop for DJ Mustard, and he was allowing her to say that she was his stylist, even though she was just a personal shopper, so she could get gigs elsewhere. So
I'll tell you this, she must be cute if she has all that pull.
Yeah.
Ain't no way he got some ugly shopper, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I do, Chris.
He was distracted by something else. You know what I mean?
He gave her mad perks, bro. I agree.
Well, he was engaged or he's married or something.
Yeah, did that
Mom,
like that?
when has that ever stopped a superstar?
Nah, never stopped nobody, bro.
Or a celebrity.
All the engaged and married people on the podcast.
Black men don't cheat.
You talking about celebrities, first of all. Second of all, Miles act all wholesome right now.
Yo, DJ Must does not speak for the majority of the Black community. Black men do not cheat on a serious topic. Black men don't cheat. Next topic. Keelan Spadoni was arrested for not returning $1.2 million that was accidentally deposited into her account. Accept or decline?
Accept. Yo, I seen her mugshot too, and she was, she didn't look unbothered at all. And for her, like, look, I say this all the time. Actually, no, I don't. I'm sitting here capping. She need to return that money because I'm sitting here acting like, if someone deposited all that money in my account, I'm keeping it, and I know damn well I ain't keeping it. Ain't no way my mother letting me keep it. They coming for that thing. But again, it begs the question, like, hey, you put this money in my account, I didn't take it. Technically, because you're allowed, I can go into Greg's account right now at whatever bank he's at and deposit money into his account. I'm not getting that back. They're not giving it because I can't withdraw money out of his account. So technically, if they deposit money in her account, she should be able to keep that. But hey, it's $1.2 million. They're not trying to play around with that.
Yeah, the other thing too, it was Charles Schwab who accidentally deposited $1.2 million into her account. It was supposed to be $82, which is a huge mistake. I 1.2 and 1.2 million, $82. The numbers don't mix up at all. But they said that where her crime was is she took the money, moved it to a separate account, and then bought a house and bought a car.
Oh yeah, she wildin'. You left that part out. She bugging. She thought she done changed her whole life up. She thought she was Kim K for a second. She said, let me go get this Rolls Royce. Let me get this mansion. Let me go get my nails there real quick. Take little Billy Joe down the street. Gonna go see a movie. Gonna stop at the corner and go see Tony. Nah. She did chill. She done bought a crib.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. This was in Louisiana.
People are so stupid, yo.
You thought she just got blessed.
Yeah, I would have reported or something, bro, because it came from Charles Schwab. That's not.
It came from the bank. They're gonna trace their money. Like,
Right.
You know, you ain't do nothing to get 1.2 mil.
That is funny. She thought she had a.
If I just found 1.2 mil just laying there, that's a whole nother conversation. But you deposited in my account. That's you get taxed on anything over 9,000. I don't know. Anywho, next one. Greg should definitely probably accept this one. Shannon Sharp allegedly was quoting a fake KD quote from a fake Instagram account. I'll read the quote for you. He kind of Brandon Marshall-esque was saying that KD said, and I quote, people try to discredit my rings, but honestly, I feel like they're the most valuable of our era. People argue LeBron is the GOAT, but if I beat him back-to-back finals, then what does that make me? He already came out and said that he never said that. So, accept or decline.
I mean, I thought that quote was real for the longest time. That quote's been circulating for a long time. That's not a new quote. So I don't know why Shannon brought it up now. But Shannon always talking about, you know, the GOAT conversation. That's what that show survives off of that conversation. I don't know if y'all realize that. Like, people really only tune into it for that discussion. I feel like more than anything else. Maybe I'm off in saying that, but I feel like that's where they really make it. That's where they make it all count for them. But I mean, hey, KD can call him out if he wants to. KD be on the internet too much. Yo, how long have people been talking bad about Bron? Like, come on, how long have people been saying inaccurate things about Bron? Like, yo, it's Skip alone would give Bron reason to be on the internet and going crazy at him. Crazy. And that doesn't happen. That doesn't KD. I know KD wanted to make an example of him. That's cool. He made Shannon Sharp look like a fool. But at the end of the day, like, his social media use is concerned. It really is. Like, it doesn't affect him on the basketball court. It has nothing to do with his play. He seems to he's a great player, but it just it's a life thing for him. Like, it's a life concern. Like, people around him should be concerned with his social media use. No, for real. Like, it's just no reason. Like, why are you worried about? Yo, he had a game in 3 hours, and he was talking to Shannon Sharp about what he said. You have a game in 3 hours right now. He went and dropped 33. Regardless of the fact that he's having this conversation, it didn't affect him. But I'm just saying, like, it all goes back to KD's social media use for me. Like, I just think, yo, you're too influential for this. Obviously, he didn't say it. He has the right to defend himself. I get that if he didn't say it. It's also an incredibly stupid quote, anyways. And it fueled my hate for him when he was at the Golden State Warriors. I was like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, if he actually said that, but we didn't know. But two main things: the spread of misinformation is crazy right nowadays. Don't believe anything you read because it comes from everywhere and it can look real. That quote looks real when you see it. And then also KD's social media use is a concern. Now he the only difference is now he's not using a burner. Now he's just going at dudes out in the open.
Now, Greg, let me ask you this though: when did you find out that, like, it was fake?
Today. I didn't know I thought it was something KD actually said.
So it wasn't just
it wasn't just Shannon Sharp that fell.
Yeah, it wasn't. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
I thought it was real. Miles and Tony, y'all heard this quote, I'm sure. Before.
Yeah, it looked real. The whole post looked real. It had on the bottom that it was on a podcast and everything like that. So it looked real. Honestly, low key, everybody was saying this. It sounded like something KD would have said anyhow. Yeah. So
I don't blame Shannon Sharp that much for falling for it. I really don't. I
just think it's funny. Sharp fell.
Well, here's this too. Well, Shannon Sharp's not a journalist. He's the dude that they pay to talk about these things on TV, and he's an entertainer. He's not a journalist. There's no journalistic integrity here. He didn't do no research on this. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He doesn't research facts and stats and all that stuff. That's not what his job is. His job is to be entertaining on TV. So for KD to come at him as if you're talking to Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless, who they wrote for papers their whole life, my man, Shannon Sharp is out there banging heads with dudes for 15 years. And then
he's like CTE.
This ain't his job. It's not his job to be accurate with his reports. I mean, you'd hope he would be, but If you go into Shannon Sharp as your source for information, you already messed up. So at the end of the day, why didn't KD have to see that thing circling the internet? You know how sensitive he is. Why didn't he say that this is a fake quote before? Why wait till now? When Shannon says it, now's a problem. You know why it's a problem? Conspiracy to Greg time. You know why it's a problem? Because Shannon Sharp is always defending LeBron James. Shannon Sharp's always pushing the propaganda that LeBron's the greatest, the GOAT. And it bothers KD because KD's always been second in everything since he's gotten the NBA. In the basketball space, he's always been second. So it bothers him. So then he's just picking and choosing now. He's just picking and choosing to go after Shannon Sharp. That's what it is. You want to do the conspiracy thing? That's all it is. It's KD's insecurity manifesting itself on social media.
Hey, yo, before we transition to the last one, you got like a gallon refiller over there, Miles? You sipped on that thing like 12 times and there's still soda left in it?
I'm not over here chugging it. I didn't stick a needle in it and start shotgunning it.
That'd be funny.
Hey, last one. You mentioned Stephen A. Perfect transition. Stephen A. Smith, you alluded to it earlier, says, and I quote, Kyrie Irving should give some of that money back if he keeps missing games at his leisure, accept or decline.
He should. Greg, it's your boy.
No, I don't. I've come down pretty hard on Kyrie in this show already. Do I think he should give money back to the Nets? No, I don't think he should. You don't got to get in his pockets and money's guaranteed. I ain't gonna tell any, especially a black person, to give the bread back. I wouldn't tell anybody to give the money back, but especially a black person. I'm not telling you to give the bread back, so that's fine. Kyrie's paid the way he's paid because he's very good at what he does. Is he on some weird stuff, taking all these personal days? Yes, there's no way around it. I've never seen anything quite like this before in sports. It's really interesting, but it also goes to show you that the NBA is run by players. You ever think again? See, let's never have this conversation again. When a star player asks to get traded from an NBA team, and they say they want to go there, let's just assume they're going to go to where they want to go, because that's what happens. When you're this good, you can take as much PTO as you want. That's the sad thing about it. Let's hope he doesn't do it in the playoffs. But I think if it was in the playoffs, it'd be a different discussion. I think that Stephen A. is right. From an ethical perspective, like, yeah, you don't just take days off at your leisure, like, just because. But at the end of the day, I don't think that Kyrie should be giving money back. Stephen A. always doing too much, bro. He's always doing too much. He had to take it one step further, right? Give the money back. And why, Miles? He has the money back for what? Why? Why do you think that? If RJ Barrett becomes as good as Kyrie Irving one day,
he's not going to take days off. He would never take days off. Nobody in the league is doing this, but him and Kawhi. That's it. And Kawhi did it because he's been milking an injury for about 5 years.
He ain't milking nothing. Kawhi's soft. He ain't milking nothing. Call it what it is. Kawhi's soft. Kawhi overrated, bro. I'm really tired of having this conversation with people. Kawhi overrated. Kawhi's overrated. Looking at that little knee stint situation for the longest. Him and PG both soft. So that's why the Clippers are going. That's why we're not scared of the Clippers, bro. Yo, in all seriousness, bring it back. I think that it's gonna happen. We're gonna see other players do it. I think that you're probably, you know what? You're probably right. Kawhi, it may not be about the injuries. How do we know Kawhi not just going fishing on those days he says on the management days? How do we know he's just not doing to go fish? He's some weird dude. Like, we don't know what he be doing.
He's probably sitting upright in his room for 8 hours if he's not. He doesn't look like a guy who does anything besides basketball. So I don't think
you're right. You're right. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah, you gotta PG go fishing. PG go fishing. We don't know what Kawhi do.
We don't know what PG do either. He's some weird dude too.
No, PG go fishing. He be having whole fishing tournaments in the summer and everything like that.
Some weird, man. He's weird, bro.
Transitioning. Julian Edelman has retired, and it started this whole spew of, is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer? They had this conversation after that Super Bowl win, and he got Super Bowl MVP. It was, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. Do you think Julian Edelman deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? We're not talking first ballot, second ballot. Does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame in y'all eye? I'm going to throw out some names out there before you start that who play the same position but are not in the Hall of Fame and have pretty good stats. Torrey Holt, 920 catches, 13,000 yards, 74 touchdowns, 7 Pro Bowls. Reggie Wayne, 1,070 catches, 14,000 yards, 82 touchdowns, Super Bowl champ, 6-time Pro Bowl. Hines Ward, 1,000 catches, 12,083 yards, 85 TDs, 2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP, and a 4-time Pro Bowl. Julian Edelman, Hall of Famer?
I mean, if you're comparing him to those guys, hell no. Because those are all Hall of Famers. They'll all get in at some point. But Julian Edelman, his main thing is he's been reliable. He comes up clutch in the playoffs. And he's what the Patriots have needed for as long as he's been in the league. He'll be in the Ring of Honor for the Patriots, but he won't be a Hall of Famer as far as his playing goes. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's not even as good as Wes Welker, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. So if he's not on that level, then
bullseye.
I'm
not putting him in there.
Bullseye. Welker and Edelman both played 12 years. Completely different stats, though. Edelman only eclipsed 1,000 yards 3 times, never made a Pro Bowl. His catches for his career is 75th all time. His yards is 156 all time. His touchdown receptions doesn't even crack the top 250.
36, right? What is it?
You said his touchdown catches?
Yeah, what's the total?
36.
36, okay.
Some high schoolers get that in one season. Wes Welker, 903 catches, 9,000 plus yards, 50 TDs, 5 Pro Bowls. Same position. Station.
Yeah, I'll say this: we don't have to go too much into this, right? I mean, you brought up some notable names. Patriots fans' argument is like, oh, he won 3 Super Bowls. You know, he was a 7th round pick in 2009. He wasn't supposed to be this good, and that's all true. But at the end of the day, getting into the Hall of Fame isn't a team sport. It's not about the Super Bowls that you have. It's about your individual stats and what you bring to the table. You got to be the best at your position, right? So when you talk about other wide receivers that were in the league at the same time as Edelman, you know, he was never the best wide receiver in the league during his time. He, like Greg said, he was what the Patriots needed. He fit into their scheme. He was Tom Brady's savior. He was a quick guy, very similar to Wes Welker. Showed up in big games when he needed to show up. And again, he was a great player. He had a great NFL career, but at the same time, it's like when you compare him to the best of the best at his position, you know, he falls short.
Yo, it's a great story. Y'all could give him a documentary. Y'all could give him a movie. He could be NFL films, maybe a 30 for 30, but he's not.
Give him an E60.
Why?
E60.
Why are they pushing it? Why are they pushing it so hard? I ain't got to talk about this. Y'all know what I think already. I ain't got to say anything. I think people could just know. People just know. You listen to this podcast, you know exactly what I'm going to say about this. Why do you think that people are pushing him into the Hall of Fame conversation so much, though?
Let me guess. The color of his skin.
I'm not gonna say that necessarily. Although, damn, I was like, come on.
Because he played with Tom Brady. And he has 3 rings. That's why. Because it's Tom Brady's little brother.
Question: do they do this though, like with Wes Welker? Because I don't think they do the same type of love for Wes Welker.
Which is weird because Wes Welker was a better player, and Edelman backed him up for years and couldn't beat him out until Wes Welker finally his brain got scrambled enough to where he couldn't play. That's the reality. That's the reality of it. God bless him. I hope he's okay, but he wanted to keep playing even with his situation. This guy kept coming back. He went to the Broncos, remember? He couldn't do a 5th grade jigsaw puzzle at the house. He was trying to play football. That's a whole different conversation. But he wasn't better than Wes Welker. Wes Welker he was forced out of the league. And that's why Edelman got a chance. He did great with his chance. But at what point do we ever go, hey, well, Julian Edelman's one of the best receivers in football? At what point do we ever say that? He was never a part of the top 10 conversation. How could you be a Hall of Famer and you were never top 10? It makes no sense. The numbers aren't in his favor either. It's not even a conversation. The only reason why we're having this conversation is because of Tom Brady exceptionalism. He gets the Tom Brady benefit of the doubt because he played with Tom Brady. It all boils down to him. That's the reason why. And him being short and white also helps as well. But we won't get there.
Transitioning, I'm glad we're all on the same page with that. I was a little concerned. I was hoping nobody on this show would say that he was a Hall of Famer because that would have just took a huge left.
Hey, yo, I heard Colin Cowherd on the show today saying that making a case for him over Ocho Cinco.
He drunk. He drunk. I didn't even bring
He called Ocho Cinco a bad route runner. He said that
quickest feet in the league during his time.
No, you have no credibility at all anymore after that, Colin Cowherd. To say that Ocho Cinco, bruh, we know what it was with Ocho Cinco. It was everything off the field.
Listen, just hit him with an Ocho Cinco line. Child, please. Next.
Child, please, and kiss the baby.
Kiss the baby.
On everything. NFC West. Pressure. We did it last episode. We're going to break down NFC West.
We doing it? We get into it?
NFC West, not the East. We ain't doing the East tonight.
All right.
East West. Yo. Who has the most pressure? We're going to start off with the Cardinals. Who has the most pressure to perform?
Ooh. I like this one. Oh, we starting off with the Cardinals.
Kingsbury.
Yes, we're doing one coach, one player though. So obviously Cliff Kingsbury.
I think Cliff Kingsbury is like the best answer you could give. I think he has the most pressure. Like, if you're talking about the most pressure on the entire team, I know we're doing coach player, but if you want to talk about the guy who has the most pressure on him, on themselves individually, it's Cliff Kingsbury, because they have a team they feel is ready to win now. And Cliff Kingsbury teams they haven't played much defense historically throughout his time in the NFL. He didn't play much defense in college. He's a young coach. It'll be easy to scoop him up out of there. And the GM's in the hot seat. He's been there for a long time. I know he's did a good job building a team that can. That division is incredibly difficult, right? They got to make the first of the wild card team. They didn't do that last year, right? And they were talented enough to do that last year. So it's a management and coaching thing. It's not a Kyler Murray thing so much. We know what he is. I'm not really worried about that. It's more about Cliff Kingsbury, the system he has, and can you prove to yourself to be an elite coach in the NFL? Because if you can't, they're going to get you out of there fast and find a coach they think is elite who they can pair up with Kyler Murray for the next 10, 15 years. That's where they are.
They signed James Conner today.
Yeah, they've only made offensive additions for the most part. Outside of J.J. Watt, their defense is a problem, not the offense. It can score 30 points with no problem before. They want to be able to run the ball and be more balanced. And maybe Connor is your answer there. That's fine. He's solid, but they need to be able to play defense. They need to be able to rely on their defense to win some football games, to help out and be complimentary. Right now, they're just an offensive football team that can score 30 points, but they'll give up 30 points just as easily. So that's the problem. And they have talent that's side of the ball, but they haven't put it all together.
Are y'all in agreement that is on Kingsbury?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that answer.
You usually like my answers.
Man, if you don't stop.
Rams. Who has the most pressure for the Rams?
Stafford. I mean, he's a new quarterback. They just traded for him, gave up all those assets. Clearly, they think they're ready to make a run at it right now. And they were only a quarterback away from getting to the bowl. So I think he's got the most pressure, either him or McVay. But I think more so Stafford, because it's always been, the Lions have held him back. He's never had a good team. Well, now you got a good team. You got a solid defense, and you got a trio of receivers that are pretty solid. So it's like you have no more excuses at this point. You're in the best position you've been in your career. Now it's time for you to produce.
I think you're going to see the same Stafford. It's going to be the same Detroit Stafford. He's going to get his stats. But I don't know if that produces into winning or a Super Bowl, as a lot of people predicted. I don't see them winning a Super Bowl this year just because they.
So because of him, they're not gonna make the Super Bowl. Is that what you're saying? Because of him?
No. I'm saying everybody's saying, so Jared Goff was the issue. We add Stafford. Now it's a Super Bowl championship. Pump the brakes with that. He's a better quarterback than Goff, but I don't think Super Bowl championship because y'all added Stafford. That's not. Nah.
Really, I don't know, bro.
Yeah,
that's a hot take. I think that them adding him is huge. I think Jared Goff was what held them back as a team. The defense was amazing all year. The offense was stagnant at best with Goff. He was limited. Goff was limited. When the play breaks down, he can't do anything, and he doesn't have the arm. He has the arms to push the ball down the field, but it has to be perfect. The situation has to be perfect. People can't be near his feet. Stafford got the arm to make those throws, bro. I don't know, man. I think that team is a Super Bowl level team. I think they're going to get there. If they don't get there, it's a failure. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure on him, and also a lot of pressure on the coach too, because he's considered the genius. Wasn't McVay the genius? As everybody was talking about, he remember plays from like 6th grade. That's what everybody raised out with him. And I'm not saying he's overrated. He's been great. But I think that will help them back with the quarterback position. Them upgrading it puts them in a different position now. Like that's what makes Arizona's life harder. That's what makes Seattle's life harder. They're a better team than Seattle, easily. So, you add Stafford, you got a chance to win a chip. And in fact, this is his best chance to win one for this year. Pending
this is his best chance. He's better than Goff, but I don't see them. They'll make the playoff. I don't see them winning.
He's better than Kyler Murray right now too. Stafford. Oh, he is. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is interesting. See, these are the kind of conversations we gotta have because I think Stafford's better than Kyler Murray right now. Head up, I really do.
Can you write this down for next episode?
What?
Oh, yeah.
This debate.
Oh, we'll get into it more, but and that's fine. That's fine. That's why these in-person shows are gonna be great.
Yeah,
they're gonna be great.
Straight genius. Before we transition to the next team, are you in agreement with Greg? Do you like his answer?
That who?
I'm
talking to Chris. Does he like Greg's answer again?
About Kyler Murray being better or being Stafford being better than Kyler Murray, or are we talking about Stafford has the most pressure?
Stafford most pressure, and Stafford gets them into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean they traded everything for you to come there, so I think it's only right to say he has the most pressure. I mean he's got to perform. He hasn't won a playoff game in God knows how long. He's been on the Lions the past few years, but he's had great stats, so he shows that he can play at a high level. But now you surround him with pieces that allow him to do that, so everyone's looking at him as the savior to help the Rams. So I'm sure he's feeling that pressure too, because now he's, for the first time in his career or in a long time, he's going to be a part of a winning situation. So he's going to have to carry the weight of that and help the offense out and really live up to the expectations that everyone has for him.
Before we transition, because we'll have to talk about this next episode. But Stafford, I've heard Greg say something along the lines of this, regarding RJ Barrett and players as of such. Has he ever really had experience playing winning ball?
Has Kyler? You see?
No, I'm not comparing the two. I'm talking about just Stafford.
Okay, that's fine. No, he has. He only in a few select seasons. No.
Okay, I just want to throw that out there. That might be a factor when he has to make a deep playoff run. I'm just throwing that out there. Transitioning.
You can't. He's gonna close the door on it. He's gonna close the door on it and transition. You listen.
Seahawks. Who has the most pressure in Seattle?
Pete Carroll.
Oh,
It's got to be Pete Carroll. Like, they won those Super Bowls, made the Super Bowl so long ago, and the team has just not gotten better since then. Like, the defense is not where it was years ago.
Yeah, they've lost pieces.
He's holding Russell Wilson back. They're not letting him air it out. It's a passing league, and last year, to start the year, he was the hottest quarterback in the league, and he loves the run. He loves to run the ball, but like, come on now. Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks of this generation. You got to let him do him. Like, he's done him for as long as he's been in the league. You haven't surrounded him with any line help. So he's constantly running out of the pocket, trying to make plays, and that's where you get these off-platform throws that we get from Russell Wilson that it's incredible. But it's not because of Pete Carroll. It's because Russell Wilson is one of the best football players in the league. But now we need Pete Carroll to help him out a bit. Loosen those reins a little bit. Unleash your best player. Like, he's unhappy right now in Seattle. And that has partly to do with Pete Carroll and the way he's run this team and run this offense. So I think he's rubbed a lot of people in Seattle the wrong way. Clearly, there's been guys who've wanted out. Now it's time for him to, maybe soften up a little bit, ease back, and let his star quarterback run the show, because he has too much input on that offense, and that's all I got to say, because Pete Carroll's he's a good coach.
It's already hard enough. It rains in Seattle 75% of the time.
Seattle beautiful, bro. Well, I heard. I don't. That's not because I was visit.
From what you heard, I've heard the same thing. I'm just saying I want to live there.
I'm not saying I want to live there. I want to visit. I want to stop by and stay high and by.
Seattle's beautiful.
We could on Chris' expense. We could go out to Seattle.
That for real.
First of all, ain't nobody going to Seattle. It's cloudy 90% of the time. So I don't know where you're getting as beautiful.
Yo, I heard it's
nice, foggy. Right? It's foggy year round.
So uncultured.
Shoot, it's raining half the time. What you mean beautiful? That ain't beautiful. It's wet.
Yo, this guy, Russ Wilson has that organization. He's got him right where he wants him. Like, I'm gonna keep it clean. He's got him right where he wants that organization. All the pressures on the front office, all the pressures on Pete Carroll, right? The best they went out and got him Gerald Everett. For all the complaining he did, they went out and got him Gerald Everett. That's it. You know, like they're doing nothing. They're wasting his career. Is what they're doing. So, man, he's gonna get up out of there eventually. If they don't figure it out, and I don't think much is gonna change this year, at all. To be quite frank, is the offensive line better? I remember a game the Giants played against them where we got quite a few sacks. I don't think the offensive line's very good. So I think that's the problem. They haven't protected him. That's what his main complaint was. Also, Miles is right. They don't open up the playbook. They try to go back to the run game. But they go back to the run game because they can't protect him. So they need to soften up the pass rush of the opposing team. And it limits the offense, right? So those two things work twofold, right? It's the failure on the general manager's part, right? It's not just a Pete Carroll thing. In fact, I put less of blame on Pete Carroll. I put more blame on the front office. And Russ gets some blame too. Russ has waited too long to pull this power play. Man, we're going to get to a place where the NFL quarterbacks are going to run in this thing like the NBA players do. It's going to happen eventually. I think that this domino had to fall. But all the pressure's on that front office and Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll's going to be the scapegoat. They're going to fire him. It's not his fault. That's just the way it might shake out. And I can see that happening, especially in that division this year, with every team being improved, especially that Rams team. When they see them twice a year, it's going to be a real humbling experience playing against those guys.
San Fran. Beautiful San Francisco. Who has the most pressure in San Fran?
Gotta be the front office.
Front office, yeah.
Give me front office. Hey, Jimmy.
The ones who made the move.
No.
It's Jimmy.
No, it's not.
Jimmy, he's up out of here after next year.
Right, he's gone anyways. They made that clear.
Part of the future. We're talking about the future now. There's no.
Listen, hold up, Greg. Hold up, Greg. We're going to let you talk, Greg. We're going to have conspiracies with Greg in a minute. But nah, here's why it's the front office. It's the front office because you just traded up to get who you think is going to be your savior and quarterback of the future, Mac Jones. They got to get this right, because if they get this wrong, everybody getting fired, bro. If you draft Mac Jones when you had the chance to get Justin Fields and it goes south, it's done for you. Jimmy's been injured. He's been there 4 years now. This is going to be his fourth season, and they've in the past 4 years they've had 3 losing records. So, and he's only played, I think, like I want to say some crazy number, like 17 of their 48 games since he's came there. He's been injured year after year. So yes, from that perspective, yes, because if he plays well this year, it'll give him a chance to go somewhere else and have a career somewhere else. But if he plays bad this year, I understand why there's a lot of pressure on him. But I feel like front office trading up to go ahead and get that number 3 pick, there's more pressure on that, because that ruins your future. Jimmy, they can get rid of and get somebody else. But like, if we talking about the long term, they got to get this pick right at number 3.
Yes, I agree. But the only way that I feel there's more pressure on the front office than there is on Jimmy is if they take Mac Jones. If they do things stupid with the pick, like take Mac Jones. If they don't do that and they take, I don't know, Justin Fields or Trey Lance even, a guy that will definitely thrive in the offense, then I feel like they'd be fine. We have faith in those guys. You know what I'm saying? Now, what do we know? We don't. We're gonna see how it all shapes out. There's still pressure in the front office. It's a big move. I understand that, but it's a very smart move by the front office. I don't think it's stupid at all. Jimmy in this offense is okay. You're cute. You're good. Like you're a very good team, but you need a guy who can run RPO. You need a guy that can push the ball down the field, and a guy that can make off platform throws. You need a really good quarterback to compete in this modern day NFL, right? That's the way this thing works. So I think it was smart. I think it really was a forward thinking move by the San Francisco 49ers. There's never been a team that was in the Super Bowl the year before that's ever done this before. This is unheard of. Trading in the draft to get a quarterback a couple years after being in the Super Bowl. So, yes, there's pressure on them, and I get that. But if they're smart with it, which I think they're going to be, I don't think it's going to be Mac Jones. I still have faith for some reason, even though I shouldn't. The NFL has always let us down, and these general managers let us down. But if that's the case, then I would go with it being on Jimmy Garoppolo. That more pressure on him because his career is bound on the line. Like basically what's happening this year is like, yo, you can play well this year and go somewhere and start, and teams can believe in you, or you can be bad this year, get hurt again, and we're not going to hear from you again. That's it.
Basically,
his career on the line.
No, I'm saying he's basically Sam Bradford right now. He's been injured every other year, and
what happened to Sam Bradford?
So
what happened to Sam Bradford though?
He got about it. I mean, he got his money from everybody in the league.
He didn't worry about his pockets at all, but he didn't worry about his pockets, bro. When it was time to put up or shut up, he got to shut up. They had to go. His career ended. I'm saying this is the same situation. That's pressure. That's wild pressure. That's why I think it's on Jimmy. The organization, we knew that already. Every year there's pressure on you. When you have a team that good, you don't win, everyone's asking questions. I know the last year was the injuries for the whole entire team, but you take the right quarterback in this third pick, you're setting yourself up for the next 10 years with a really, really good football team. And you got to spend money in the quarterback position for a while, right? You're resetting.
5 years.
5 years.
I think you're being hopeful that they won't draft Mac Jones. If they do, we already know the vibes. We already know how we feel about it. So we'll see what happens when the draft comes. We'll definitely be talking more and more about the draft. Probably do a live show, at least on the first round. The draft is mad long, so we might do the first round. Let y'all know our live viewpoints on it and whatnot. Greg,
IG live?
It might be something like that. But this is the end of this episode. What y'all have to look forward to on the next episode 98. We mentioned it, Stafford. Is he better than Kyler Murray right now? Is Stafford really going to be able to perform well in the playoffs for a Super Bowl contending team? Air quotes for those who are listening. Super Bowl contending team. Of course, we're going to talk about the NFC East also. But y'all know the vibe. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Bench mob, we out. Peace.
Peace.